Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody doing? Heather, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm glad that I actually have sound and I'm in the studio on the new computer. I feel like a whole new person.
Especially after the last one, right? I mean, after the last one we did, it was like, okay, hold on a second. Because we were both in different locations. You were on your
it was absolutely the most perfect episode because it was all about what goes wrong when you're live streaming. And we started off by me getting a phone call just as we went live. And we were both on a mobile little setup.
I was on my Pixelbook at my mom's house, and you were on your laptop getting a phone call. So it worked out really good.
It worked out great. It was the best show ever as far as topic was concerned.
How's everybody doing out there?
Remember that.
Hey, where are you from? Country, city, state? Heather, where are you at right now?
I'm in Arizona. I'm going to be in Arizona for at least a year because I signed a lease on this apartment. So
there you go. All right. Well, I'm in South Carolina. Anybody that's out there, be sure and tell us where you're from. Tell us what city, country, state, planet, whatever, whatever you got, just tell us.
So nice that the comments just rolled in for me. So awesome. We've got some comments. Great. Thanks, Jolyn, for being here. We got Mark Barris. Mike, I can't click on them, so it's not going to work, but.
What? You can't? Why?
No, they're not. I don't know. For some reason, it's not working. I can't get it.
Mark Barris. There you go. I don't know why either. There you go. And then we had Miss Sheila's out there, it looks like.
Yay!
Dear Myrtle. Look at there. Eileen Smith. Sunny Philadelphia. How about that? Dave Flannery. How about that? From Rock Falls, Illinois. We got Utah in the house. Yeah. How about Ron Brown from Comics, British Columbia? And then.
Is that how you say that?
I think so.
Like, I don't know,
you give it a or something.
Yeah,
I do. Yeah, I guess. There you go. So Niagara Falls, there we go. Yeah, absolutely. And Dear Myrtle says Heather's in a state of bliss with her granddaughter visiting. That is true.
That's very true. I could show pictures, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah,
I'm that grandma, who does the whole. Let me show you my granddaughter.
That's right. That's right. Well, I'm going to show. Let's before we go any further. I think I've wasted plenty of time here. No, I'm just kidding. Our guest today. We've had her on before, and I'm so excited to have her. I'm going to show you. We have PeggyK on. This is her blog. With her tips and trick. Okay. So this is her blogger page. And if you look up in I got it. I'm pointing in the right corner, way up over there. If you click on it, take your phone, this will take you right to her about section in her blogger. So get out your phone, hit the QR code up in the corner. I'll keep that up there for a while so you guys can go check her out. It's really kind of cool. She does have a YouTube channel. Nope, Andrew made it. She does have a YouTube channel and it follows the same pattern. PeggyK's tips and tricks is really kind of cool. If you want to find out, I love some of the stuff she puts out there because she's a Google gal, just like I'm a Google guy. So it works out pretty good with that because I like to follow, and she knows so much. I just want to say she knows so much. But I like right here, it has PeggyK's free webinars. She has our show on there a couple times. I had to just throw that out there. So that's pretty cool. And then on Twitter, of course, PeggyK is over on Twitter. I love it because it's easy. PeggyK every single time for the most part. So it's really easy.
Hey, Michael. Yeah, can we just bring PeggyK on the screen now?
I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to do it. Okay. All right. Here we go. Let's do it. Peggy, say hello to everyone.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's good to see you guys and everyone in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Very good. I love this comment from Andrew. Love to see you twice in one day, Peggy. That's great.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. And I saw, as Andrew mentions, I saw him earlier today. So
there you go. Nice to have product experts out there looking around and helping us and everything. So that's awesome. So yes. All right, good. What are we going to talk about today, Peggy?
We're going to talk about communication. So that's always, I think, an exciting kind of topic because let's face it, we need to communicate with other people. We communicate. This is what lets us communicate with people anywhere in the world. And it's sort of a running joke that Google has this kind of huge array of different communication services, and maybe we can make a little sense of all that.
Exactly. So I even I said Google Chat, Meet, Duo, Messages 5, Voice, and the kitchen sink. So there you go. Yep. So we got them all. Yep. But I love, you got a little slide here. I'm going to show it because I think you point out some good things here. And this is kind of what she's done here. And I'm going to take this off screen. So there you go. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So, I think just going back in time, historically, there were a bunch of things. Then Google Plus launched. I'm sure you guys all remember Google Plus. And then they had communication in Google Plus, and Hangouts came out of Google Plus. And it was kind of all integrated. Hangouts was the video calling. There was like a Google Plus Messenger. And then in 2013, there was a big announcement at Google I/O. Hangouts was going to be the one communication for everything.
Yeah.
And it's, so I've been around for a while. I remember when it was when Hangouts launched as a separate product, really exciting. And so they started integrating everything into Hangouts. It was chatting, it was video calling, it was text messaging, it was phone calls. So everything in Hangouts. And that lasted for a while. And then it really obviously turned out not to be working ideally. And I'm not a Google employee. I don't know what the whole thought process was behind it, but just from observing, really one thing that you see is that if you have Hangouts and you're trying to make it for everything and everybody, it means it falls down in some areas. It's really hard to make something that has excellent features for everyone. And I think to some extent it made some sense that Google started thinking about two different kinds of users. There's the consumer users, and this was really
we got to recognize the super chat. Thank you thank you. Appreciate that, Ron. Appreciate that. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt, Peggy, but I got to when it comes to super chat.
So, for consumer users, they first announced in 2016, there would be Duo and Allo. Duo for video calling, Allo for texting. Allo then was retired, and a lot of those features became what they call chat features in Google Messages. That it's a fancy name for RCS. And what sets those apart is that those are really mobile first. And you can sign in, you can use them with your phone number. You don't need to be signed into a Google account. So, this is for people who are spending most of their time using their phone. And then on the other side, for business, they started working on Meet and Chat. And those are really business first. They're web first. And they've got a ton of features that regular consumer users probably don't care about necessarily when they're talking. It also has, my understanding is that they have features on the back end for enterprise customers, things that they have to do with privacy and security and things. Again, these are things that are important if you're a big corporation using them for communication, not so much if you're just like one person. So the Meet and Chat were built with business in mind first. Now, these things have kind of like merged, and over the past year, since everyone was mostly totally online in 2020, Meet and Chat have gotten a ton of new features. They finally rolling out to consumer customers. So as a consumer user, you can use any of these. And you can see that they have different strengths and weaknesses. And if you use Hangouts, I'm sure you've seen the prompt recently. Oh, you should try chat, because this is happening. The move to chat is happening. The move to Meet for video calling is happening.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you. I got to interrupt. Sorry. There you go.
So I think for the first time in a long time, I think there's a lot more clarity around what these different services are and what the differences are. And so if you're mostly on your phone, you communicate with other people who don't necessarily have a Google account, Duo and Messages. If you're doing any sort of business, if you're using Google accounts, you have a Google Workspace account, meet and chat. So that's what we're looking at here. And I just wanted to mention, you mentioned Google Fi. There's sort of a third category where it's telephony. These are telephone services. That would be Google Voice. That's like cloud telephone services. Google Fi, that's like a mobile carrier. So, you sign up for Google Fi and you get your mobile data, you get your phone number. It's like signing up for T-Mobile. Most of the communication is T-Mobile.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a third category. And so instead of having Hangouts, which is going to do all of that, instead they've split it into separate services so that they can be sort of optimized for each service. Yeah. At least that's how I am thinking about it.
No, I think that's fantastic. I think that's a great way. I think that's a great way of looking at it personally. I think that's
like Mert said, great explanation. Absolutely. Yeah. And Andrew said less muddy. Not sure about more clarity. Yeah.
But definitely less muddy. And one thing, and a lot of times, it's Hangouts was so cumbersome. A lot of people would get confused about all the things that it could do, and they didn't understand it because they had. Well, I'll just give you an example. Like there's Facebook messages. That's just one thing. And then they started adding all this stuff. It's like they started building and adding and doing, and then other companies started doing it. And then so especially with the pandemic that hit and all that kind of stuff. So I really like the way it's explained here and what maybe, I don't know if Google's ever done it that way or looked at it that way, but they probably need to.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's how Google thinks about it. This is how I think about it.
I know. Yeah, exactly.
PeggyK said so. That's the end of the conversation.
Right. So that's interesting though. And I was so afraid to try Google Fi. I did it for my mom, and I was just like, I was really nervous how that was going to happen, going from a carrier to Google Fi. It is the simplest, easiest. If anybody needs any help, I can tell you and show you how simple it is. And she pays $24 a month for her phone bill.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy. So
I have Google Fi, and it's now, originally Google Fi, it used Hangouts as sort of back end and using computing. Obviously, that's not happening anymore. But really, it's unlike most mobile carriers. Using Google as your mobile carrier, they don't have it so that there's like a million different plans and all these hidden fees and things like that. Google doesn't have any reason to make it complicated like that. Instead, we've got these like 3 basic things. You choose. Do you want to, pay for the data you use? You want unlimited data?
Amen.
Exactly.
Choose it. You can cancel. You can switch between different plans. No problem. It's easy. And I think that
I love this breakdown. I think the breakdown really helps people maybe understand a little bit and see why there's possibly a need for one over the other. Why you don't need to have all of those. You really don't. I mean, and I know at work. Yeah. I mean, I know at work, we use Duo quite often, more than Meet. A lot of times, like with our foremen that are out on the job, it's just easier for them to hit Duo, make a video call and say, hey, look, this is the floor that's messed up. Can you, give me some ideas? It's just quick and easy that way.
I'm a fan of Duo. I like it a lot too. And like you say, it's quick and easy. It's designed to use on your phone. The other person doesn't have to be signed into a Google account to use it. And it's got kind of fun features in there. And that is what I think most people want to communicate with. I think
the other thing that's really cool, though, I just want to interrupt you because we're talking about Duo on that, is we have one of our members who's from Australia. She didn't want to give me her phone number. I didn't really want to give me mine. You can still do Duo over an email. So I just know her email. So we did a Duo over email. I mean, that's great too. That's so fantastic. I mean, you're talking about somebody outside the country. that we can sit there and have communication. That's pretty awesome. I mean, it's really, to have that flexibility is pretty incredible. But anyway, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Well, what I found yesterday too, or this past couple of days with my granddaughter here, she likes to do video calling with her mom and her siblings. And I don't really do that very much with them, but I noticed we were using our carrier's video calling, and it was not very good. It was much better to use Duo. Duo always has a good picture and looks well. So that was interesting.
It is nice to have that focus.
It is interesting to see that there has been some, I don't know what you call it, feature creep. And, you see now there were some features that were only in Meet. Now they're in Duo. You can screen share things. But I still feel like they're optimized for different use cases. There was a good question from...
Yeah, let's bring that back up.
Yes, this is an awesome question.
So Google Fi is, I think they call it an MVNO. Basically, Google isn't putting up cell phone towers or anything. They are, they pay carriers. Originally, it was T-Mobile, Sprint, and US Cellular. Of course, now T-Mobile and Sprint
together
are merging together. So it's kind of just T-Mobile and US Cellular now. How does it compare? If you have a strong T-Mobile signal, it's gonna be good. Does it only work with Pixels? No. It works with any current Android or iPhone. It's easy to use. There are phones that are designed for Fi. They may have a few more features. So that's Pixel. Not only Pixels. There's our Samsung phones that are designed for Fi as well, and
does it work?
And a few others. You can see it in the Help Center, the list of various supported devices.
Does it work on a tablet? Do you know?
I'm sorry. What? Can you say that again?
Well, yeah. Does it work on like a tablet, an Android tablet?
Oh, that I don't know. That's an interesting question. Now, you can, as part of your Google Fi service, you can get a data-only SIM. So the data-only SIM, this is great. If you have an extra device, you put the SIM in, it accesses, you're paying the same rate for mobile data that you would with
any other
phone.
carrier.
And so it's there. You can't make phone calls because it's only data, but it makes it so you can stick that in your tablet. And it's using your Google Fi data connection.
But you can make a Duo call, right?
Yeah, sure, because that's over the internet.
Yeah, it's Wi-Fi. Yeah, so you can make a Duo.
Duo be part of messages for web.
That's good.
I have no idea. Yeah, aren't you a Duo expert?
Me? I am, but I mean, I don't know how much of an expert I am because I don't know. I don't know that would. This is fun. This is a fun conversation that we can get into. Wait a minute, aren't you an expert in that? Just because I'm an expert doesn't mean I'm an expert.
But
yeah, Google Fi though is so worth it though. And seriously, especially I do this for my like my mom's friends who are elder. Just putting that nicely, but if you have some of those friends and they're paying the $69 a month or whatever for whoever, I mean, it's crazy. Especially if you're at home most of the time or you're near Wi-Fi. A lot of times you're in a grocery store where it has Wi-Fi, or you're in a restaurant that has Wi-Fi, and whatever. There's Wi-Fi around all the time now. If you're using that Wi-Fi, I'm telling you, Google Fi can be just the best as far as price for them. I mean, especially for them. That's my point.
I think that the nice thing about Fi also is that you're not locked in to any plan. It takes a little bit of time, of course, to transfer your phone number to a different carrier, but really, if you want to cancel, go ahead and cancel. They're not going to like give you to a special retention agent or whatever they're called, who tries to like browbeat you into keeping the service. If you try it and it works for you, great. If you try it and it doesn't work for you,
no, that is on US. Is that right? Oh, go ahead.
Now, I wanted to mention Google Voice and Fi because this is kind of, there's a little history there where originally you could not have Google Fi and Google Voice on the same Google account. It had to do with them using the same back end on the account. They were using Hangouts for some of the services, both voice and Fi. Now, that has all been separated. You can have a Google Fi account and a Google Voice account on the same Google account.
Nice.
Google Voice, I haven't used in a long time, so I'm not really an expert there.
Darn, I was going to put you on the spot.
You can use, if you're in the United States, where with your free Google account, you can get a free Google Voice phone number. I think you need to have a phone number already to set it up, but other than that, you can use that to create a second number.
Has to be mobile. Has to be a mobile number.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
But the good thing is once you've got Google Voice set up, it does it over the internet. You would use the Google Voice app or the Google Voice website. I think there may be an extension also. I'm not sure about that. But Google Voice does work on just an internet connection. So basically that means you can have a free phone number that you don't need to be paying for mobile service for.
Yeah. Now that's in this country, and Fi is as well. Is that correct? Or is Fi?
Yes. Fi is also only in the United States. Now,
okay.
Google Voice is available outside the U.S. for Google Workspace, but that's a whole separate thing, but for if you have a free Google account, you must be in the United States to set up Google Voice. Gotcha.
Interesting. That's so cool. All right, talk about let's talk about the messages, because that's where a lot of people get confused, because they'll just talk about messages, but again, they're thinking Facebook message. Everything uses the term messages. Everybody does. Whoever has a service calls it messages.
One of my pet peeves is that Google is terrible at naming things. They wanted to use the most descriptive term. Chat, messages, and the problem is it's a generic term, so nobody knows what you're talking about.
Okay, so you know what I said in our last summit, in 2 of the meetings that I was in, I said, please, you look at how successful Gmail was. Everybody knows what it is, and they know what company it's from. G Messages, G Chat, Gmail, everything would have just been so much better and easier, and everybody knows what you're talking about. I agree with you, Peggy. 100%. We're on the same bandwagon on that one.
Now what's totally confusing to a lot of people, me sometimes too, is so you're using Google Messages. That's the Android text messaging app. They have chat features in Messages, which has nothing to do with Google Chat. That's what everyone else calls RCS. RCS is kind of like a technical term, but it's like souped up SMS. And so, of course, it's totally confusing. People like post in the help forum, I'm having trouble with chat. And it's like, okay, what do you mean by chat?
No. I love it. It's so true, though. I swear to goodness. Peggy G. Yeah.
Peggy G.
Yeah. I like what did Tech for Seniors? He had something up there too that he brought up. It was good. Yeah, Fi works great for Canadian snowbirds. So he uses Fi when he lives in Canada, but he would come to Arizona once, like in the summer or winter or whatever he did. I don't know what not the summer, not in the summer, whatever.
Yeah.
So his Fi he would carry it. He has it in Canada where he is now. So
I think you just need to be you need to be like physically in the United States to set up Google Voice. And you probably, I would think you would want to do it on a separate Google account than your main one, because Google does try to detect what country is associated with your Google account. But, why not?
Whatever works, right? So is Fi something you can use? Like if I went on a trip to another country, since I have Fi as my carrier, how would that work? Would you have to get a SIM for that country? Do they have Fi, or how does that work? Do you know? Yeah, you need a U.S. address, he says. Okay. Okay.
So for outside the country, if you have Google Fi as your carrier, they actually, one of the great features is international calling. If you go to Europe, Asia, lots of countries, there's I think over 100 countries, you go there, your mobile data should work fine. It's at the same rate that you pay for mobile data in the US. So if you're paying per the gigabyte, it's the same. If you're paying, unlimited, it should be the same. Now, phone calls, using the regular phone calling, they do cost money to call from outside the US into the US. But I think if you call over Wi-Fi or an internet connection, then that is included in your rate. So that's one of the big features for Google Fi, is that it has really good features for people who travel to a lot of different countries.
Same cost in 210 countries. There you go.
There you go.
Good to know. We got an expert out there. I love it.
So maybe your mom will want to travel the world.
Yeah, there you go. I'm lucky if I can get her to go to the grocery store. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. That's traveling the world for her. No, I'm kidding. I'm just joking. But okay, so why do you think, I love the way that you explain this, the chat versus message, chat for business, messages for personal, Duo and Meet and all that kind of stuff. And then you said, just to clarify for everybody, all these are available to anyone. You don't have to be in business to use any one of these things. No. But they certainly do have different features by paid structured programs and things like that, though, right? I mean, so I think that's the part where we come in a lot of times as product experts, having to answer some of these questions and stuff. Speak to that a little bit. I mean, just kind of talk about that a little bit and how the different things and what that.
I think it's not. So yeah, it's like you say, if you are a Google Workspace customer, you have more features available to you than if you are just a free account, personal account user. That's especially true for Google Meet, where, if you have a paid account, you can have more people in your meeting, you can have dial-in phone numbers, you can have recording, and there's a number of other features that are limited to paid accounts. Now, one thing that's kind of cool is that for a regular Google Workspace account, it's kind of like a big deal, right? It's designed for a business with multiple people. It assumes that you have your own domain for your business with email on it. And, for a lot of individual people, it's a lot more stuff than you would ever need.
Right. Yeah.
And so they just recently launched Google Workspace Individual, and I've been trying it out, so I can talk about it a little bit.
Cool.
Where you just use your regular Google account, you sign up for this Google Workspace Individual, and right now you get extra features for Google Meet, so you can have people can join without a Google account. You can make a recording. You can have your meeting for up to 24 hours, a bunch of features like that. There's also Google Calendar features that are for scheduling appointments. You can make appointment slots and have people sign up for them. It's pretty neat. And you don't need to do anything fancy. You don't need to learn all this stuff about being a Google Workspace administrator. It's just you. There's no admin. The rest of your Google account stays the same, and you just get these extra features. So, and you pay every month. But I think right now the cost is $7.99 a month. That's until January, where I think it's becomes $9.99, $8.99. But it seems really reasonable to me, especially when you compare it to, say, Zoom paying for pro features is actually kind of expensive, and they want you to pay for a full year. At least the last time I looked at it. The nice thing about Google Workspace Individual is you can cancel anytime you want. So you can sign up for it. You can get a 2-week free trial. It goes on. If you don't need it anymore, you can just cancel and you just go back to using your regular regular Google account.
I just want to say, though, if you invite me to a 24-hour meeting, Peggy, I won't be able to make that one. Sorry.
I can't even imagine what you would need that for, but
I don't think I can make that one. Sorry. I don't know if I can.
It could be like a big party, dance-a-thon. I don't know.
Okay. Maybe something like that, but
I might.
I think Google calls it, basically unlimited meetings, because I think meeting time, because basically it would be really unusual for anyone to have a meeting that went longer than 24 hours. Fundraisers, yeah. So,
oh my gosh, it's like Jerry Lewis telethon or something. That's what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one
be a
thing
new Olympic event will be. So anyway. Yes, go ahead.
One thing that's missing from Meet that was in Hangouts was, there was Hangouts on Air, and I think that was a lot of people's first introduction to live streaming.
Yeah.
Really, really super easy, and a lot of features, but that's not available in Meet. I know a lot of people have been asking for it. Whether it's something Google's considering, I don't know.
Record to YouTube is just convenient.
Yeah, I mean, YouTube, it's kind of weird because YouTube does have web-based live streaming.
Of course.
What you're missing, though, is there's no way to bring a guest in. So
correct.
If you want to use, the easy built-in live streaming, it's just going to be you.
Yep.
I mean, Hangouts on Air was great because you could have, a whole webinar, and it was so easy. And I know StreamYard, that you're using here, and some other platforms that kind of stepped into the void there, but it's still not as easy as Hangouts on Air was.
No, that's true. I mean, but yeah, it's all in what you want to. It's all relative. I mean, you have to learn about anything you use, no matter what. You have to learn about anything that you use. But that's the bottom line. That's why I've done this community of tinkering with tech. It's about that. You're going to have to learn, and why not learn it together if we can, and that kind of stuff, because I think it's real important that you're going to have to learn about anything. If you don't know how to right click, if you've never right clicked in your whole life, or if you know what I'm saying, or you just don't do that, then it's not easy. You have to be careful when you say something.
What's simple to you is not necessarily simple to the next.
Everybody's at different levels. Everybody's at different levels. Absolutely.
It's
100%.
Nice to have a place where we can come together and help each other out.
I mean, just with the Olympic, just let's use that theme. Somebody says, oh, this race was so easy. Well, wait a minute. For you, it was easy. If I was to get out there, it's not going to be the same. And it's not even going to be close if I got out, you have to, there's different skill levels for anything and everything that you do. For someone to say, oh, it's easy to throw a football, or it's easy to throw a baseball, or it's easy to do whatever, just take it for whatever, that kind of thing. Easy is relative to whatever you already know or have learned and that kind of stuff. And that's kind of where I go with that. All right. We need to start wrapping this up. First of all, thank you so much for coming. That was amazing.
Always a pleasure.
It's awesome. I mean, we love having you on. I swear it's awesome because I always learn all kinds of stuff. Oh, there you go. A great community. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. I just want to say one more time, if you have your cell phone, be sure to right here, just if you have a QR code reader, put it in there and you will get Peggy K's about page on her blogger. And I would suggest you follow that because it's a really good one. You'll learn some stuff. I love when you do videos out there. It's really cool. I saw it a lot more. You bring up Google Plus. Back in Google Plus days, there was all kinds of stuff all the time, and I always saw it. So there's nothing to really pull it into my face like it used to. So I always make sure that I keep that on there. And Mark says it very nicely. Thank you so much, Peggy. Peggy, for our community, you're going to come in and our backstage pass just for a little bit if you can. That'd be great. Members out there, you guys, we encourage you to come into the backstage pass as well. Heather will put the link out there for you to join us, unless you already have. I don't know if you already have, but yep, she just did. I just saw it. Okay, so there you go. Heather, as always, thank you. I love your new setup. It looks awesome. Peggy, thank you so much for joining. Can't wait to talk to you a little bit further in the backstage pass. Just hang around a little bit. I'll get you that link if you would. I'm going to do the outro. Thank you, everybody that showed up in the audience. If you're watching this later, be sure to go check out PeggyK. I'm serious. It'd be worth it. Thank you, folks. Bye, all.
Bye-bye.
Bye.